Check out that rattlesnake in the backyard. Okay, but 4 or 5 years ago, while hiking with my girlfriend at the time, Molly, we were going to spend the night on Baldy. We were going up the Ski Hut Road. And going up, I was in the lead on the west side where we were looking over a ridge. Well, down off the ridge about 4 feet, I saw this branch, which is a manzanita root, by the way, just sitting there. I'll tell you all about this branch. But I picked it up, I put it on top of my jam pack, or she was wearing my jam pack. I put it on top of my circuit, and I think I had the circuit. I'm not sure. But I carried it with me. I had it in my possession. Still has the bark on it in places. I had it in my possession for 4 years, and the whole time thinking I'm going to put a fake real rattle on there, which HB Hiker, I believe, gave me a rattle that he found on a snake that was killed, roadkill. I didn't want to kill a snake just for the rattle, so I was going to put a real rattle on there. And then I was going to buy, I even went on eBay, and I was going to buy an actual dried up rattlesnake head and put it on there. But I thought, man, I don't know about how I'm going to connect that and everything. And here we go, jumping forward about 4 years. Myself, Robert, Monica, and David. I think that's it. Myself, Robert, Monica, David. I believe that's all. We're up Mineral King, and we went up, had a trout fishing derby, had a great time. And walking out, I believe Robert was in the lead, and then Monica, and then David, myself. And I'm walking ahead, and I'm filming this and that. We're heading for some horses. There's some horses up ahead we're going to film. And I see my friend David look off to the left and look down at something, which caught my eye, and I look down. When I look down, I see this rock sitting something like that. And I think to myself, man, that looks just like a rattlesnake head. I run over and pick it up. Now, he must have saw the motion of myself doing that, because he goes, did you pick up that rock? Yeah. What did it look like to you? I go, rattlesnake head. He goes, exactly. I was going to. Well, I did. And the only thing, and so I'm thinking, how am I going to connect it? Well, I used a Dremel, a saw, and a few other things, and I should have filmed how I did it, but the rock was angled like this, so I used my saw and I cut the angle like that, and I put that up against there, and then I made a little tape dam out of some masking tape, and I filled it. When that dried, I turned it and did the same thing here. I kept building it up and building it up and building it up until I used almost a whole tube of epoxy. And I got that epoxy way bigger than this and this, so it was clumped way out here. And then I just took rotary file and I blended it in just like a real snakehead. Now, one side of this rock looks exactly like a snake that has not been altered in any way. Look at that. The flat head, the indentation for the eye, the nose, the mouth. The other side, not so much. It's missing the eye. The tongue is just a piece of leather. I dyed the leather red, scraped it real roughly, and then just epoxied it on the bottom. Now, I left all these little nubs. I left all the grain, and I left, best of all, I left the bark of the manzanita. Look at that. I left that bark. It looks really neat. Now, the rattle I ended up just carving. I carved that using my Dremel. I'll show some photos in here. It almost looks like a tiger's eye, doesn't it? how it, look at that, the black and the grain and the gold. Well, how I got that black on there, I wanted to match the, there's some black in these grain here and in this root, in this bark. So what I did is I took a torch and I hit that with a torch all around, and then I took a copper or brass, a worn out, like a copper toothbrush that welders use, and just hit it real lightly, and then a worn out Scotch-Brite, dried worn out Scotch-Brite, just rubbed it, and I cleared it in some spots to try to match. And I did the same thing with the torch, all in, because cutting this down, it was all thick come out here. Cutting this down I whittled this down, it was completely white. So I hit the torch just to match the bark. So I hit the torch all around, even it up, and on the bottom, what these are a piece of leather wherever it touches, so it can be set on a surface and not slide all over the place or not make a big scratch or anything. Now it tends to want to lean this way, so I have a bottle here, and I'll show a picture of it with the bottle. That bottle I ordered off eBay. That bottle I want to fill up with this blue soap stuff, just because the colors look good together. But look at that rattlesnake. That took 5 years to make. Found and had this 4. Then I had that 6-7 months. And then the epoxy and everything working on it. I didn't do it all at once. It took a few weeks. I had to let the epoxy dry for hours at a time. Turn it, let it hours at a time. That's a whole tube. And maybe 16 applications. One this way, one this way, one this way, one this way, round the clock. Then grind it and start again until eventually I had duct tape coming straight across here. And I filled all this up so I could get that to blend it in. But look at that. When I find some odd piece of wood or odd rocks or something, I have 3 5-gallon buckets full of odd rocks and wood and stuff, pine cones. I have been meaning to make some windmills out of them, wind chimes out of them and such. In the down times when it's raining or too much snow, or which is rare, or something comes up, I'm sick or something, I can't go, it gives me an alternate something to do. But that's my snake, my rattlesnake. I put it on Facebook, and I was offered $125. I wouldn't sell it for that. I have a lamp also.